Welcome to the Prepared School Psych Podcast, a space dedicated to the insights and expertise that empower school psychologists and educators alike. On today's episode, I have the pleasure of speaking with Annalise Puentes. Annalise is a licensed educational psychologist in private practice with a passion for empowering students, educators, and families. As a practicing educational psychologist in Sonoma County, her focus has been on psychoeducational assessments, behavior support, and staff training. She has worked with a wide range of students from preschool through age 22 in public, non-public, and private school settings. She was drawn to school psychology because she loves working with children and knows firsthand how transformative education can be. She became a member of her local CASP affiliate, the Sonoma County Association of School Psychologists, over 10 years ago, and has served on the board for over 6 years in various positions, and currently she is a co-treasurer. She loves the collaboration amongst colleagues and the opportunity to give back to the community of school psychologists in Sonoma County and beyond. Welcome to the podcast, Annalise.
Thank you so much. That's so official. I love that.
Well, what is your favorite TV show you are watching right now?
I had to think a lot about this because there are a ton of little things that I like to pick up and watch. But recently I was introduced to New Girl, which is an old show, but new for me. And so I have been watching that and I have fallen in love with the characters. So now I'm obsessed with that. And I'm only like 10 years late, but whatever, better late than never. So yeah, New Girl is what I'm into right now.
Love that. I had another recent guest who also had the same favorite show. So
It
it's
must be targeting us.
well, as I've mentioned in previous podcast episode in California, different regions within the state have affiliates with our larger state association. So your role within the Sonoma County is co-treasurer. How would you describe the association's impact on school psychology in your area?
Well, I will say, as treasurer, this is a new position for me. So it's been a really fun way to kind of see a different side of the organization. But being a part of this organization and benefiting from this organization for so many years, the impact is really the collaboration. Of course, we are giving trainings and making sure we're updating people about new rules and laws, but it is the colleagues that I have created relationships with, the questions I get answered, the camaraderie that is really the impact that I have felt in the county, and I think is our biggest champion of the school psychology in general, as we get to collaborate and support each other.
Well, I know that you've been involved for a number of years with the affiliate. What motivated you to take on any of these leadership roles that you have added to your collection here?
Peer pressure, right? I got duped into it. Yes, I was promised fame and fortune. No, I will say Sonoma County's association started very small, very grassroots with some amazing people before me. And it was like, hey, we're just getting together at this restaurant. We're going to go over a few things. Why don't you just come and join and see how it goes? And you're like, oh, sure. And then they give you a free appetizer and you're like, oh, I could be a secretary. So that's how it started. But it was wonderful, right? Because you get an excuse to connect with other people. And I really did start very simple. It was, hey, would you be willing to take some notes? I was like, absolutely. And then as we became more formalized and we became an official affiliate of CAS, the role has increased in its requirements, but it's something that I was easily able to jump into after being a part of it when it was a little bit smaller. But really, it was everyone that said, hey, we have this need. Can you fill it?
Well, what has been a valuable lesson you've learned from your leadership experience with the affiliate?
That's a great question because I have held different positions in staff, treasurers, current, I've been secretary, I was president, membership chair, all of those pieces. So I've
Done it
seen a little
all.
bit of everything. Yeah. And I've loved them all, which is, I don't know what that says about me that I love being on a board, but that is another personality podcast we can have later. I would say the greatest, and it's the greatest lesson. Is that the question?
Yeah, like a valuable lesson you've learned from your leadership experience.
Say The more you can connect with everyone in your constituency, the more you can connect, the better. And I think when we get into our more isolated space of, I think what's best, I know what's best, we lose sight of what everyone else needs. So the more you can collaborate and take people's opinions in, the better. That's the lesson I've learned for sure.
So, how has being involved in the affiliate shaped your career?
Oh, huge, huge. I started in a district in Sonoma County, a public school district, and loved it. Worked there for almost 10 years. And the relationships I made with people from all over the county were priceless. And that gave me connections for when it was time for me to go into my private practice, to have connections in other districts. Sonoma County is kind of unique in the fact that we are a county that has, I don't know, it feels like 1,000 districts. I think it's 40, but they're very small. So our small ones are 1 or 2 school districts. And so we have a lot of people that are isolated in those spaces as school psychologists or covering multiple districts. So to have that web of connection, to be able to say, hey, I'm going into private practice. What does your district need? How can we support? And having that already established connections were huge. The other piece, when it was time to bring in PSW, I'll give a shout out to you, Jenny. When it was time to bring PSW into Sonoma County, which is still an ongoing situation, to have the connection with everybody from being on the board and saying, hey, this is something we need to be moving towards. This is what we're passionate about. How can we get this working? There were already inroads. So I really find it as priceless. And I think anyone that is looking to expand out of their kind of maybe singular role in a district should join their affiliate yesterday. I mean, it is a great place to connect.
Well, we all know being a school psychologist in public schools or working in private practice can be very time consuming. So, how do you make time to volunteer for your affiliate on top of everything else that you do?
So don't ask my husband and my children because I'll be like, you have to go away. I need to go to a meeting. It has transformed over the years. It has definitely transformed. I will say one of the things that really, really helped in the beginning was starting small. So I was co-secretary with one of my great work friends who we later started our own private practice together. So if I couldn't make the meeting, she could. And we would collaborate outside of that and have it. So having a buddy, like it's a buddy system of board meetings, that was really helpful. Also, there were times in my life where I needed to be less involved, when I was having babies or going through life stuff. So it was also okay for me to say, hey, I'm going to need to take a few months off. Can someone fill in this position? And that was wonderful. So having a very flexible board and a kind board is great. But honestly, I just started prioritizing it. One of the things that we did as a board was we set out our meetings for the entire year. So we know exactly first Wednesday, 12 o'clock, we have a meeting. So that was easy. I could plan that out and say, hey, that is carved out time. And because it has paid back in such dividends, it feels easy for me now to say yes, because I know what it gives me in the long run.
I love that. I love that. Well, I know we have a lot of listeners who are excited about the possibility of taking on a leadership role, but are also hesitant because of the time commitment. I mean, school psychologists have never said, I have so much extra time on my hands, I don't know what to do. So,
Exactly.
what would you say to someone considering joining their local affiliate, maybe raising their hand, offering, some little bit of support, but are still so hesitant about it?
Yeah. And first of all, that listen to the hesitancy. I want to say, right? If there is something in your life where you are saying this is too much, it's too much, right? Like I really want to honor the fact, because you're right. School psychologists, we love to throw ourselves at everything and then have everything be thrown at us and say, okay, we'll do it. We'll do it. So first, listen to the hesitancy. Trust your gut on this one. If you are still interested and you're still a little nervous about it, I would say the first thing you can do is just sit in. Just say, hey, can I observe a board meeting? I think really quickly you will find out the vibe of your board, figure out where there are needs that you might be able to add to. We have people who are not official board members, but are committee chairs, or they are a part of like a task force. Those are much lower stakes. They have less commitment, but they're still connected. It can be as simple as, hey, I know you have an upcoming training. I'd love to be helping people check people in. It's just, I want to start connecting faces to names. I say there are a lot of little ways. Start simple, see where the need is, and then jump in from there.
Well, I know one of the wonderful member benefits and a lot of our affiliates is being able to provide professional development for your local area. So, how does your affiliate determine which topics your members are interested in?
Yeah, I love this question because it made me think, what have we done? Because it has always felt very natural, the things that we are starting to pick from. But there is a kind of programmatic way we find out about it. So often we will send out a kind of a questionnaire to our membership and just say, hey, what are you interested this year? What's kind of the big things that you're dealing with in your districts? The other piece is we are really highly connected with our Sonoma County SELPA, our local planning agency. Yes. And we are really connected with what they're seeing as, hey, we're having a lot of complaints around this, or we're having some issues around this. So we can work from that space. We also just happen to have a strong board that is really connected to the community and connected to kind of school psychology in general, whether it's some of us who's been through the school neuropsychology program, right? You love that SMP.
Yes.
Um, those that are, your CASP membership affiliates. So we really try to take a pulse from that. And then always we want to see, what do you need as an NCSP to maintain that nationally certified school psychology accreditation, as well as your LEP for California licensed educational psychologist. So every few years, you have to have so many continuing education units in certain areas. So this year, like coming up next year, I think in the fall, we'll be doing a legal updates, because legal is a big part of that continuing education,
Yes.
which is almost always so well attended. People love to be told what to do, but the law.
Yes.
So typically that's how we do it. And then we work with the connections we have. We work with the people that we know, professors we've worked with, anyone that we think might be a good fit for the county.
Well, are there any upcoming trainings in 2025 that you did want to highlight?
Yes. So we have on March 14th is Dr. Gray Christner. He is going to be doing an all-day training on CBT in the schools. So we haven't done a kind of a therapeutic or counseling-based training in a couple of years. So we knew it was time to get back to that. And this man has been so generous and worked with us as an affiliate. And at first we were just going to do a half day, but then he was gracious enough to do a full day, and it'll be in Sonoma County. We are very excited about it, because anytime you can get a full day training, you are leaving with something valuable. You're going to be changing your practices the next day you walk into your office. And it's a Friday. So if you want to come up to Sonoma County, have a little weekend trip in wine country, come on down. It's going to be great.
That's incredible. If people are listening and are interested in learning more about that, we're happy to put stuff in the show notes. Would we just link directly to the website? Would that be the easiest?
Absolutely. Yep. Sonoma County Association of School Psychologists. We just started a social media presence. We have a Facebook page and an Instagram. So we'll make sure to be updating those as well. But yeah, that would be a great connection. You can link, and feel free to become a member, even if you're not local, because actually half of our, or maybe more of our trainings, we either do a hybrid model. So we'll offer in person and Zoom, or it'll be completely Zoom. We are trying to do more in person because we know that personal connection is important. But we try to offer some services for everybody.
I love that. I love that. Well, reflecting back to when you were starting out in this amazing field, since we have a lot of listeners that are starting off their journey as school psychologists, what advice would you give to someone starting out?
This is tough because I love my work. I have always really loved it. There have been burnout times for sure when it gets very overwhelmed. From the beginning, I was interested in the work that we did and had a real passion for it. And from the beginning, I was a part of student organizations and local organizations. And when I was in another state, I was a part of a different organization. So as a graduate student that was getting ready to go into the big, scary world of doing it on your own, that organization attached to your local affiliate ASAP, whether there is a formal mentorship program that they have, or just hey, I'm starting in the county. I'm new. I'm a little nervous. Is there someone that I can connect with? It can be fantastic. So it's my advice to you is actually connect with your affiliate as soon as possible. And then the other thing is just give yourself a lot of grace. I remember in my internship year, every week I was crying about something, right? It's just like so intense. And I wish I gave myself more grace to realize I didn't have to have all the answers and I didn't have to have it all figured out. So yeah, connect, get a part of your affiliate and give yourself a lot of grace and find a good TV show that you can like unplug and just connect to, whether it's a Real Housewife or like a Game of Thrones, whatever is your flavor.
I love that. I love that. Well, and I think too, because you had mentioned in your area specifically, there are a lot of these very small school districts where, in comparison, even, different parts of our state, there are huge school districts that have over 100 school psychologists, and being connected with mentors is likely just part of the process. But always thinking about those that you are the school psychologist in your school district. And so being able to reach out to anybody to be able to connect. Exactly. Exactly.
When I first graduated from, I went to Chapman University in Southern California. Love that program. It taught me, I was so ready compared to, I know a lot of other people that were really struggling, but I moved to Indiana. So my first job was in kind of rural Indiana. And I was the only school psychologist in a 2 elementary, 1 middle, and 1 high school district.
Oh.
And I had to, it was just, I don't know what it was, blind, leading the blind over there for me, but I loved it. But the first thing I did was connected with my local people, right? Who else is out there? Because I don't know what I'm doing. And let's not know what we're doing together.
Yes. Well, is there anything else that you would like to share or promote about your affiliate?
Yeah, one of the things that I love about Sonoma County Association, we do also try to do social gatherings. So, they're not always well attended if it's like in a middle busy time of the year, but in January, we're going to have a New Year connection. So we might go to a winery or brewery or even just a restaurant to connect. The face-to-face time I've had with people in that space has been really invaluable. And also just the collaboration and the someone to be able to recognize it like, oh yeah, you know what I'm going through right now. This is not new to you. This is not different. We know how this feels. So I really like that about our organization. We really try to incorporate kind of the human side of our field as well. And I love that. So that's another reason, that can be a part of your affiliate that is a big deal. And I think it's worth it because I love that part.
Yay. Well, this podcast is called The Prepared School Psychologist. When you think of the term prepared, what does your affiliate do to help psychologists feel more prepared in their roles?
Well, I think the biggest thing when we talk about our trainings, when we talk about how do we want to support our membership, is we want to give them real life things that they can use and be prepared to use the next day. So we have incorporated a lot of AI trainings in this last year, incorporated working with Dr. Ortiz with evaluating students that are English learners, where people are leaving with really discrete skills that they can use immediately. So that has always been our focus. While we like to talk theory, while we like to talk that stuff, we also know that in the climate that we are in now, to be a prepared school psychologist means you have the tools available to you. Also being able to reach out and answer questions as quick as we can about specific incidents and specific situations, that has been a really big part of it as well, just being available to collaborate. And I give you a shout out, Jenny, because the other thing I think of when we talk about prepared is using Jenny's materials, because that is something we do all the time. I will say I still, as I've been doing this for 14, 15 years, have signed up for one of your courses probably every year because it has been so important for me to continue that learning. And so having that connection, even on a broader scale, has been priceless. So thank you. And we in Sonoma County love you, Jenny Ponzer.
Well, thank you. Oh my goodness. That was lovely.
Yeah.
Well, I want to say thank you for being on the podcast and for sharing all of the information. And we'll make sure to include the website as well as your social media links. So anyone else who is interested in connecting with your affiliate that they have all the tools to do so. So thanks so much for being a part of the podcast, Annalise.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Well, thanks for listening to the Prepared School Psych podcast. We hope you found today's conversation insightful. Be sure to check out our online community for more resources and connections. I will see everyone in the next episode. That concludes another episode of the Prepared School Psych podcast. And I hope today's discussion equipped you not just with knowledge, but also the confidence to take action. Remember, every conversation we have and every resource we share builds a bridge towards a more inclusive and empowering learning landscape for our students. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to the podcast for more insightful conversations and resources to support your journey. Share this podcast with colleagues. We would love it if you would also rate and review the podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Just a reminder, everyone, the information and advice provided in this podcast are for guidance purposes only, and all listeners are required to follow both federal and state law and their own school district guidelines and policies. Thank you.